So as we think about what does it mean to be a friend and how the gospel impacts that, I think it's very important for us to look at the life of Jesus. Nowadays, the term friendship or the label friendship is kind of just thrown around to almost anybody. So anybody that we like, anybody that we feel like has a nice smile or a warm personality, we're quick to label that person friend. But I think it's very important to actually give that word meaning again. And to really recognize that when you call someone a friend, that implies a certain amount of commitment, and that implies a certain amount of weight that does not need to be taken lightly. As I think about Jesus and how he engaged the disciples, there are a few words that come to mind: sacrificial, giving. He was very honest when it came to the disciples. He was willing to say hard things. And I think that oftentimes in Christian communities, when we think about friendship, we enjoy Jesus fellowshipping with his disciples. But I think that to some extent, we've even taken the weight of what it means to fellowship. Hey, let's go and hang out and shoot the breeze and just be comfortable around one another. But the reality is that friendship does not always equate to comfort. I think you should be comfortable around your friends, but I think that if you're really trying to be a good friend, and if your friends are really trying to be good friends back, oftentimes you're going to find yourself having very uncomfortable conversations about hard things. You're going to find yourself having very uncomfortable conversations, asking hard questions. And I think it's really important for us to be willing to cross those lines in a way that's loving, in a way that's respectful, in a way that's patient. Because at the end of the day, we can't fix people, so we don't need to think that all of a sudden we're going to give people the word of God and that the drop of a dime, they're going to change just because of something that we said. Jesus didn't have that effect on everybody that he encountered. So how can we expect to have that effect on people that we encounter, especially our friends? As we think about friendship, I think if I had to sum things up, I would say look at the life of Jesus. Study how Jesus engaged the disciples. Be willing to do hard things for your friends. Be willing to say hard things to your friends. Be willing to ask hard things of your friends. And be willing to also allow them to do the same back to you. And be slow to label other people as friends. Be willing to say, hey, let's get to know each other. Let's build trust first before we just say, hey, we're friends. And then once you commit, be consistent. But then here's something else that's really beautiful about friendship. Friendships are not always meant to last a lifetime. It's not marriage, right? It's different from marriage. Sometimes we look at friends and we say, all right, this is my friend for life. And if this person, if you guys grow apart, people are hurt as if divorce has taken place and somebody has walked out of a marriage. And guess what? The Bible does not I don't think that the Bible calls friendship to that level of commitment. But it does say that if you feel like a friendship is growing apart, it's okay to communicate that and to be respectful of the other person and actually say, hey, I've really enjoyed the past few years of getting to know you. And I want you to know that I love you as a friend. I love you as a brother. I love you as a sister. But I think that for a season, it may be best for us to go our separate ways. And oftentimes we feel like that there's something wrong with that. And honestly, I don't think that it is, as long as we're honest about it. You have a lot of people who will be willing to just go ghost and say, hey, we were friends for a little while, now we're just not talking, and never really communicate. But that's one of the hard parts about friendship, right? You have to communicate and work through hard things together. And at the end of the day, if someone else feels like that the relationship isn't being fruitful, isn't really encouraging them, isn't really adding value to their life, and they feel, or maybe they feel like they have nothing left to offer, it's okay to let go and move on, because friendships are sometimes for a season, and that's okay. So I would say look at the life of Jesus, study it carefully, and really look at the way that Jesus engaged his disciples if we want to really understand how the gospel impacts our relationships and our friendships.